Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. I'm your host, Chris Kirkwood. Screen name Kirkdiese, back for another season. I'm doing this a long time, this show. And with me, we have one of our returning members from last year, probably the content extraordinaire with the key personnel article over on RotoGrinders.com, the GOAT, Derek Farnsworth. Noto, what's happening? We're back for another season.
We're back. They found room in the budget to bring us back for some odd reason. But yeah, excited to be here. Obviously, love doing the show, love talking some tournaments. And yeah, had a couple months off, had a baby. So I'm feeling refreshed and ready to go this season.
Congratulations. And we talked about that last year on the show. So the returning members got to see the whole, all the full circle. When you had a new girl, then all of a sudden you had a new baby on the way. So congratulations. That's awesome. My son is still going strong over here. Just turned 3. TJ has a new little one. TJ, who is filling in. Well, first of all, let me tell you about TJ. TJ is Saskatchewan's, Canada's greatest number 1 ranked DFS player in all of Saskatchewan. So we are excited to have him, and he is filling in for another Canadian beer maker who's going to join the show this season. Bobby will be here for some weeks. And because Beer and Bobby are kind of going to be going back and forth when they're available. So don't worry, Bobby Gomes will be on the show this season, but we are lucky to have TJ. What's going on, TJ? How are things?
Not too much. Doing very well. I don't think Beer is Canadian.
Is he? I thought he was.
No, he's definitely American.
Come on, let me you don't have to call me. Like I said, something, like if I say something, you got to back it up.
I should have just slid that one under the rug. That's my bad.
Because then we could have ran with it.
But doing very well. Happy to be here. Going to be behind the scenes all year with you guys, but happy to be popping on for the first show. I have hand built I believe the technical term is shit ton of lineups so far for tomorrow, and so I'm very excited for week 1. Very excited that NFL is back, and looking forward to chatting about the slate with you guys.
Yeah, and also a new caveat this season: we are recording live, so we're here at 12 noon every Saturday, unless we can't make it for something that we will. Tweet out when it will be on, and I don't see that happening much, but so it should be pretty steady for Saturdays at noon. That way we have most of the information. We feel more comfortable about the slate. Everybody starts looking for their content on the day before Sunday. If you're like me and always doing your homework at the last second, you want the most up-to-date information. You start looking at Saturday for your football stuff. And I am swamped right now for sure. We got baseball going. UFC just started. We got NFL. We have NFL Thursday and Friday. Yeah, man, it's a busy time, but I'm excited to be doing the show again and happy to have you back. And Bobby Gomes is in chat. Nice to see you, Bobby. Missed you today, but you'll be on it this year.
Yeah, we'll get you on. Love you, Bobby.
Bobby's saying he's not on. He's just not on today. He will be on the show. All right. Let's talk to Slater. Should I do the quick ad where you just get out of the way? That's what I'll do. So are you looking to get NFL DFS access this season? Why not get more bang for your buck with the Combo Pro deal here? For a limited time, you can get your first month of Combo Pro for just $79.99. It's only $5 more than the NFL DFS monthly subscription. Don't pass up on this elite value. And that is all our ad reads. So that's nice. So let's go. So we got a 12-game slate. Not really any super high totals. We got 3 games with a 47.5 point total. And that's Cincinnati at Cleveland that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about. Everyone wants to get a piece of that game because we got Joe Flacco on the other side, who usually likes to air it out. So I think there could be a lot of back and forth, a lot of pushback in that game. Then there's Tampa Bay heading to Atlanta in the Dome. Tampa Bay is favored by 1.5, but that's another 47.5 point total. Then they get the Lions at Green Bay. I was looking at some ideas, trying to figure out how to play that game. It just made me like the game less because I feel like there's just too many weapons, at least on the Lions side. So for me to feel comfortable out, but those are the 3 highest. Then there's 2 games with a 46.5 point total. Miami with should we say, a potentially washed or getting washed Tyreek Hill, or maybe not. Maybe he's fully healthy and is going to be the GOAT again because Tua's back and a healthy Tua. So hasn't had any concussions yet at this point. So that could be this is the week to play him, right? But we're going to find out. And they are in the dome against the Colts. And Noto's favorite guy. It wouldn't be right if we didn't start off the season with Derek Jones. Daniel Jones, sorry. So yeah, and then the other one is Carolina at Jacksonville. Jacksonville 3.5-point total. I like the Jack side in that one. I like Trevor Lawrence this season. He makes me. I always say he stinks like mid-season. But, I always get sucked in, and he was so good in college, and he just has all the attributes of what should make a good QB. So I think this is like the final year. It's like, show me this is it. And I think he's going to rise to the occasion, but could be wrong. And then everything else is like between 42.5 and 46 total. And then except for the Pitt and the Jets game. So there's a few key spots, but Noto, I know you're all up to date with your article you released. So for everyone who's not familiar with that, it's the key personnel article. Check it out on RotoGrinders. Noto is the GOAT at content here, and I really like that. So how do you feel about this slate from a big picture overview?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, big picture, pricing soft. That's kind of what really sticks out to me. You're going to like the way all of your lineups look, which is typically the case for week one. And it's across the board, too. It's not just at any position. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, they all feel a little bit too cheap. So you're going to get, you can pretty much play whoever you want this week. But yeah, I like this slate. There's a lot of games with similar totals, like you mentioned. The big injury situation that we got to monitor is Christian McCaffrey. Like before Thursday, we kind of thought he was going to be one of the better plays on the slate, and was limited, and then didn't practice on Friday. Said he felt fine and planning to play on Sunday, but he said that last year, week 1 too, and didn't end up playing. So that's kind of a situation we need to monitor. Other than that, yeah, I think it's a fun slate. There's a lot of good stacks that I like this week, and just the nature of week one, people are going to lean on projections, but they're so fragile at this point because we really don't know these teams and these systems as well as we think we do. So there's going to be a lot of spots that get overlooked that I'm looking to attack in tournaments.
And what a way to start off the season with a nice Hawk Tua to Dak over there. The spitting was crazy, just like a crazy game. And then also the injuries already major. But TJ, big picture, what are you thinking about this slate?
Yeah, the thing I noticed the most as well is how soft the pricing is on both sites. I feel like we should shout out, that typically I've been basically a DraftKings exclusive player for the last 2 years, but FanDuel is running a Millie Maker where every lineup you don't cash, they refund in FanDuel, vouchers. And so best possible contest you could ask for over there, you can't lose money on this one. Sure, you can, I guess, lose money down the line if you're you deposit that you're not very good at this, and then you spend all the vouchers without winning anything. But a wonderful, wonderful tournament over on FanDuel. So I am playing 100 lineups over there as well this week, and it's even softer on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, it feels like. So very, very easy to build lineups this week. Very easy to put whoever you want into those lineups, and it's going to be one of the only weeks of the season you can do something like play Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins all together and still get another star on your lineup and like how your lineup looks, as Noto said. So yeah, it's a fun week because you can build lineups that you will love the look of before the slate starts. And then we can just all collectively feel shattered as soon as the first play happens and things don't go our way. As Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott. All of a sudden, Javonte Williams goes off because they don't have their stud defensive tackle. Third
shout
play
out Chop.
game. Shout out to Chop for the great call there.
For the feel it in his plums play.
Yeah, he was feeling Javonte Williams in his plums, and his plums were absolutely spot on. And then the very next day, I had a Hollywood Brown on every showdown team I made. And sorry, not Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy on every showdown team I made, and then he's out on the third place. So it is a great reminder in those first two games. We have absolutely no freaking idea what's actually going to happen. We can project the best plays, but when it comes down to it and the people are on the field, guys get hurt, guys do stupid things. And so don't blow your full bankroll in week one, but have some fun building some lineups with some loose salaries.
Well, who can forget Marvin Harrison Jr. last year? Massive chalk and just complete dud.
He's gonna make up for it this year.
Yep. We shall see
this year.
And shout out to Chop for the plums. There was a lot of talk around the industry that that maybe Chop's plums are spoiled, at his age at this time. But no, they are young and as vibrant as ever. So nailed that call. Love to see it. All right. This is what we do on the Tournament Takes podcast. We usually start off with running backs, and we talk about our favorite plays, and we move over to quarterbacks, line it up for our stacks with wide receivers and tight ends. We're going to have to talk some defense, but Bobby is in chat, so we need a Bobby Gomes defense segment. Even if he's not on the show, he's in chat. Give us the defensive play when it's time, and we will give it to the people. And then we will talk about should we build a lineup again? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll build a lineup, and then we will call it a show. And the information we're going to have is going to get better and better over time as the season, and we're going to have a better feeling. This is week one, but we are here. You can blame us if you. That's one of the best things about being a tout or having a tout or listening to people give you fantasy advice is you get to blame them when you're wrong. So we will take the blame and we will try to make up for it, but we will have some big weeks, rest assured. And hopefully it starts right off the bat. So let's start it off now. Running back position. This is, like Noto said, it's a little crazy because you got CMC. We thought we were getting a healthy 7,300 CMC when we're all used to 9,300 CMC. So felt like a big discount. And then all of a sudden he doesn't practice on Thursday. And then there's people are getting scared. I listened to his interview and he said he's fine, not worried about it. But there were a couple of things he said that did, he's like, I'm not supposed to get into detail of what happened. And so it was a little shaky. So he's such an asset for any football team that it would be stupid to risk it and throw anything out there. So if he's going to play, I say he's a full go, but maybe they limit his workload. Do you have a take on that, you guys? Noto?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Usually when you don't practice on Friday, it's not great. He's a veteran. They got a long season ahead of him. I don't feel great about the situation. If he does end up being active, I would guess he doesn't see 20-plus touches. So for me, I think I'm kind of going to shy away, but I generally play small field, single entry type stuff. If you're playing the Millie Maker, I still think he's fine. I think his ownership is going to take a huge dip, kind of depending on what Schefter or anyone else says tomorrow morning. I'm sure we're going to get those tweets. So if the ownership's down, I think he's fine in large field stuff, but I think I'm staying away.
All right. TJ, you got a take on that situation?
I kind of feel like it's rare that we see Christian McCaffrey limited. He's either out or he's Christian McCaffrey. Sometimes he doesn't perform, incredibly when he's dealing with these injuries, but usually if they let him go, he's pretty close to a full go. And so this is one of those situations where I like playing, speaking of defenses, as many defenses as I can in these later games, just to get that extra salary flexibility in case I got to do some swapping. And so there's a few things like on DraftKings, if you have a couple $100, or I think this works on FanDuel too. You have if you have a couple $100 available, you can do a swap from Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers defense to Jahmyr Gibbs and the Lions defense, things like that. There are pivots that can be made still. And so I am still going to have some exposure to him, probably a little bit less than I was planning on having before as the slate begins. But it's like it's only week 1, but it is a incredibly important potential late swap day because we got to be ready for that news. If he is playing and they think he's going to be a full go, well, his ownership will probably be a bit lower than it otherwise would have. If he might be limited or he's out, we got to get all the Christian McCaffrey the hell out of our lineup. So another, if you're playing, as long as you're playing him on flex, another straight just 1v1 that you can do is you can go from on both. This works on FanDuel as a direct 1-to-1. You could do Christian McCaffrey to Puka Nacua. And so if you can't get up to Gibbs, you can just go down to Nacua. And then on FanDuel, on DraftKings, you can do the exact same thing to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there are outs if you want to get to a lot of Christian McCaffrey and then you're not comfortable with it before the slate, like before the afternoon games. There is Nacua, there is Gibbs, there is St. Brown. There are ways to just make the pivot off of him.
If CMC's out, are we going Brian Robinson or Garindo? Are we prioritizing them rather than?
I think Brian Robinson becomes a priority, but still not like, it's not like he's 4,500 or anything like that. He's still 58. So he becomes a very good play, but not like break the slate walk button type thing at his price.
You said 58, like that's really close to James Conner.
Yeah.
That's really kind of close to Chase Brown. And then when we got to talk about Achane. So let's talk about Achane. I think he's the best play just because he's so electric. We know what he can do. So basically he's averaged over 23 fantasy points a game with Tua over an 11 game sample. And has that's absolutely elite. Is elite usage. And this is in the dome. It's how do you not like him when they're healthy? And you hear that, and the role should be just rock solid this season as long as he stays healthy. So I just see a lot of upside in a mispricing for the game environment and the role with Tua. So for Achane at 6,900, I also love Jonathan Taylor. And they're both of those guys are going to be chalky, but I think they're good chalk. I do like James Conner against the Saints. The Saints D is looking brutal on paper, so this should be a game that he rolls. And also, he's healthy beginning of the season. Don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Other than that, Chase Brown, I want your guys' thoughts on. And then, but that's kind of the main chalk. I think it's like that top 4. And then who are your favorite pivots from those guys? So Noto, what do you got?
Yeah, my 3 favorites, you mentioned them. James Conner, really good spot against the Saints. I like Chase Brown quite a bit. He's not projecting as well as some of the other guys, which I'm not exactly sure why. Last year when Zach Moss went down with his injury, he played 80% of the snaps, saw 24 opportunities per game. You get access to that potential shootout against the Browns. And you can play him with Chase or you can play him, without Chase. So I like Chase Brown quite a bit. And then Jonathan Taylor is probably my favorite. 6,800 for a guy that could lead the league in touches this week at home against the Dolphins, whose defense is going to be pretty bad. Daniel Jones, he actually checks the ball down more than Anthony Richardson did last year. So I think it's a really good spot for Jonathan Taylor. Don't mind the other calls that you mentioned. Achane, the calf injury scares me a little bit. He's without his right tackle as well. His splits without the right tackle on the field haven't been great. And Colts have a pretty good defensive front. But you mentioned his splits with Tua, and he's just such a good pass catcher that I don't mind it in tournaments and stuff. And then, kind of getting out there, the Irish field stuff. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is interesting. The Lions lost both their coordinators. I think they're going to be in a lot more competitive games this season. They're actually underdogs on the road, so I think this could be a game where Gibbs gets more than 50% of the work in that backfield compared to David Montgomery. He's one of my favorites. And then after that, I don't know. I don't feel great about anyone else. What about you, TJ?
I'm a little bit lower on Jonathan Taylor and Achane than you guys are, not getting to quite as much of those guys. but Chase Brown is going to be the one that I'm going heaviest on. He's going to be my highest owned running back this week. And then for tournaments, I love the Gibbs call. He is going to be one of my highest owned tournament options. But Bucky Irving is my top running back on the slate for tournaments. I think this is just an incredible spot for him. I think he is a real dark horse to be the just RB1 overall for fantasy this year. I think this is a great spot against Atlanta. If you look at the blitz projections, he's projecting like 4 points higher than he is everywhere else. And so I'm with Cardi on this one. I love him at low ownership this week. A little Bucky Irving, Drake London mini stack, my favorite way to start a lineup this week. So love Bucky Irving. He's going to be my favorite. A couple other guys, James Conner, of course, he's the best sort of cheap option, I think. Other guys I'll be getting to a little bit. I'll be mixing in a touch of Alvin Kamara. I agree with Kirkdiese 100%. The Saints defense is going to be pathetic this year. But I think the offense is going to be better than people think it is. I don't think Spencer Rattler is quite as bad as people think he is. And I think he's just going to be feeding Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave an absolute ton. So I don't mind Kamara. I'm getting to a little bit of Chuba Hubbard in my Trevor Lawrence stacks. I think Kenneth Walker is viable. I love Zach Charbonnet as a best ball play for this season. I think he gets more involved as the season goes. But Kenneth Walker, healthy at only 5,900 in the first week. I think that's a really strong play. And I think I'm playing him in one Bo Nix team, but Tony Pollard is a guy that I love for the beginning of the season until Tajay Spears comes back, just not really against Denver in this first spot. I think the only other guy that I'm playing whatsoever is I have just a touch of Dylan Sampson in my Joe Burrow stacks. I like the idea of going like Dylan Sampson and if you think Jerome Ford is going to be the guy, not Sampson, then sure, you can go Ford. But I think Sampson is going to be the better option. So I have some where I'm playing like Sampson and Judy alongside a full Joe Burrow stack. And so I think he is my favorite of the super cheap options.
All right, I got two to discuss. So how do we feel? Well, those in the know that when Vita Vea is out for Tampa, that is when you can run against them. If he's in, good luck with your running backs up the middle. The guy is just massive, and he is questionable. And Bijan Robinson is sitting there at 8K at like a price tag that like seems a little higher than everyone else that we've been talking about. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is 6,800, so that he's just going to be lower owned for sure. And this guy has massive upside. So how do you guys feel about him?
Love the workload. Vita Vea did practice in full on Friday, so I kind of think he'll be in there. But yeah, anytime you get 20 plus touches and a potential shootout, I'm fine with Bijan.
Yeah, I'm not getting to him a ton just because I like Gibbs better at a similar price range, but I'm getting to some Bijan in Baker Mayfield teams.
And then what about JT? Dude is like the most electric college football running back. And now on, with the Las Vegas Raiders playing here in New England, I mean, no one's interested in him at 7K?
Yeah, both running backs in that game. Travion Henderson, too.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Donnie Watson just brought that up in chat. Can we get a Henderson take? I'm not really getting to either of them on DraftKings. I think they're both wonderful plays on FanDuel where they're significantly cheaper.
It's just like Ramondre's there, right? Like we don't know like that he's going to run away with it right off the bat. If he does run away with it and he's like, we know he's going to be involved in the passing game for sure. But if he's their guy, the number one running back, then yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. We just don't know this week, but maybe it's a good time. If you have a strong feeling or a conviction on that, then
it does feel like it could be a little bit HN-esque. And now maybe that is too high of hopes, but like when HN came in, we kept going like, we can't keep playing this guy. He's only getting 12 touches a game. But
I played him every week.
Yeah, and he's just exploding with those 12 touches. That feels like what we could get for Henderson, where Stevenson's the Mostert and Henderson is the HN, catching passes, having explosive plays. I love him on FanDuel where he's $4,700.
Anything else? Now is your time. You got any other deeper plays?
I don't think there's anybody else I'm going to.
I'm excited to see some situations like, Washington, McCroskey Merritt and stuff like that, but I just don't think you need to go there in week one.
I saw somebody asking about Chris Rodriguez. They bet there is anytime touchdown. I'm totally okay with a anytime touchdown bet, but just don't play him in DFS.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to see the Gibbs and Montgomery, if they're just back to like sharing workloads or if it's all Gibbs, because
I would be willing to bet.
equity.
I'd be willing to bet they do something similar where they don't it's not certain plays or anything. It's just they exchange drives. But I'd be willing to bet Gibbs gets every 2 drives to Montgomery's 1.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. All right, let's take it on over to quarterback. So quarterback this week. So there's like one star, right? Like we got Jaden Daniels at 7K, and you can make him work. Who are you going to pair with him is a little, he's got new weapons with Debo now. There's Scary Terry. Do you even need to pair him? Can you play him naked because of the rushing upside? The Giants have a much improved front there that is going to be coming at him, but that could end up to some scrambling situations where he breaks out. So he's the top overall play, like not counting salary, but I think he's going to be probably the highest owned guy in tournaments I could see as well. So we got to discuss him. Then there's right on his heels is Joe Burrow. You don't get that rushing upside, but you do get a guy who can just absolutely light it up with absolutely elite weapons. And we know where the production is going to go, and it's not hard at all. It's actually extremely easy to make Burrow, Higgins, and Chase and run it back with Njoku or Jerry Jeudy, because you can even also play Flacco if you need the savings for a guy who's going to chuck it a ton based on what we've seen in the past situations. So Burrow and Flacco are definitely in the mix. There's Daniel Jones, cheap and theoretically gets, first of all, he's a country club kid, and everyone knows me in this podcast. I don't play these country club kids, but I know you guys will. And he, for good reason, the rushing upside on paper is there. And he has a lot of weapons too. And there's also John JT. So it's a little murky for me. So I could see him fizzling, but we'll see. Baker Mayfield. And we have Chalk, rookie wide receiver we will get into with him. But there's Drake May is interesting to me. You can go anywhere. Penix, Tua, all over the place here. So who are your favorites, Noto?
Yeah, high floor plays. I think you got Burrow and you got Jaden Daniels. I know New York's supposed to have one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, but Cliff Kingsbury, he loves that horizontal raid. He's going to drop a lot of screens. I'm not too worried about the pass rush there. If anything, we might see more rushing attempts for Jaden Daniels. But like you mentioned, who do you pair him with? That's kind of my struggle in tournaments. I think cash games, he's your go-to guy, but this is the tournament take show. So I don't know how much Jaden Daniels I'll get to in tournaments. And then Burrow, yeah, I like him in all formats. My favorite 2 plays on a point per dollar basis, Trevor Lawrence at home against Carolina. You can run all over the Panthers, but you can throw on them too. They were one of the bottom teams in EPA per dropback last year. Lawrence got Travis Hunter now. Really like the spot pairing him with Brian Thomas. You can bring it back with McMillan too on the other side. And then I like Drake May. You mentioned it. I mean, he's like a young Josh Allen at this point. He's playing at home. He's got better weapons this year. So I like Lawrence and May for tournaments. And then Burrow and Daniels is kind of the top overall plays.
You like Diggs?
It's kind of the problem with May too, is I don't know who to pair him with. But yeah, I think Diggs, if there's any time to play him, it's going to be week 1.
Oh. TJ, who's in your pool?
Agreed that not going to spend much time on it because, like you said, we're a tournament show, but you just play Jaden Daniels in cash and move on. But I do prefer spending up for either Baker Mayfield or Joe Burrow ahead of Daniels in tournaments this week, just because I do think it's easier to stack them up. I'll play a little bit of Terry McLaurin with Jaden Daniels, but I would rather him get a few more weeks of practicing and playing under his belt before I start loading up on him again. Baker Mayfield at super low ownership, I think, is an awesome play against Atlanta. I'm playing a lot of Bucky Irving, but I'm playing some Baker too. I just want to load up on that entire offense. Of the cheap options, I agree. I like Trevor Lawrence a little better than Daniel Jones. He's going to be the cheap option I go to primarily this week in that tier, but I do like the Drake May call as well. And then I think my favorite tournament quarterback on the slate is going to be Joe Flacco against Cincinnati. We saw him just absolutely air it out last year. I get he's 50 years old, but Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Njoku, even on DraftKings, I think you can play a little Harold Fannin at tight end. I love the idea of, I think I would rather, instead of play Burrow with Chase Brown, with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I think I like the idea of playing Chase Brown and T. Higgins and then just fully stacking up the Browns and do a game stack that way. Get yourself some, like, literally 3 pass catchers with it. I would play Tillman, Njoku, and Jerry Jeudy all together. I think that's probably my favorite tournament play on the slate. And then a couple other guys I'm just getting to a little bit of Bryce Young, a little bit of Tua. Not on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I'm playing some CJ Stroud because Christian Kirk got ruled out. And Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins are both 4K flat, minimum price 4K flat on FanDuel. And so I built some lineups where I stacked Stroud with both of those two guys and then just play literally everybody else I want. I can play Nico Collins, Puka Nacua as a run back, and 2 expensive running backs with that team. So I'm doing that just a touch. A little bit of Kyler Murray. I think a Murray, McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. stack this week is fantastic. And then, like, because I'm playing 100 lineups on FanDuel, so I have 1 Rattler team. I have a couple Penix teams, a couple Tua teams, but like those are guys I'm not getting to near as much. Just a couple in 100 lineups kind of thing.
I'm going to add some fuel to the fire here for Flacco. So Scott Barrett over at Fantasy Points had a tweet that I saved that basically the last time we saw Flacco in a Browns uniform, he said he started 6 games in those games. He averaged over 320 yards passing. Amari Cooper had over 108 yards receiving, and Njoku had 80 yards receiving. Then he went on to say, last year, Jameis Winston played in 6 full games with the Browns. In those games, he had averaged over 315 yard passing. Jerry Jeudy averaged 113 yards receiving, and Njoku got over 9 targets and 15 fantasy points per game. Basically saying that Flacco, Jeudy, and Njoku is the highest upside bang for the buck stack on this slate potentially. And also on the other side, you got Joe Burrow who's going to sling it, and you're not going to be able to slow down, this Bengals offense. So this game should be fireworks, unless the age curve finally hits Flacco. But I think he's going to be slinging it.
The only thing I'm afraid of in this one is, and don't get me wrong, like I am loading up on this game. This is my highest owned game. I'm playing both sides a ton. Flacco's my favorite QB. But 2 years in a row, Cincinnati has just been in these great spots to start the season. We've loaded up on them from a DFS perspective, and they've just been absolute garbage coming out of the gate. That does worry me a touch just because it's the same crew, same coaching staff, same offense. But having said that, I'm still not learning from my mistakes, and I'm loading up on them.
Well, there's a lot of speak and by Burrow himself saying that he knows how they never get off to good starts, and so he did. That's why he played more preseason this season and lit it up, and said that's the thing that they're trying to correct. So I think they're going to be going out there full throttle and trying to correct that.
Hope so.
Yeah, I think you're all right. You're going to be all right. All right. Who else are some out there play? Anyone else that's like kind of out there? I know someone just asked, can we play Russ in chat?
Jared Goff.
Lip, who always notorious for people who don't know who Lip, Eric Johnson in chat. He comes on and always likes the worst play on he starts how he starts out with it as his favorite play, just because he's complete contrarian. But
he's less ridiculous for football than baseball. I will say that.
Yeah. He was asking about Brock Purdy.
I have on not on DraftKings, but on like the 100 lineups on FanDuel. I made a couple Purdy teams just because it's pretty easy. Like you know exactly who to play. It's Jennings, it's Pearsall, and it's Kittle. There's nice run backs on the other side with Walker and Smith and Jigba. So I think it's viable if you're playing a lot of lineups, but not my favorite.
Then someone just asked about Justin Fields. I'd say me personally, I'm higher on Justin Fields than consensus is. I've always been. I think he's actually pretty good. I think he's going to be great on the Jets. I just don't think this is the matchup. I think we might get he might struggle this game. We might get a really nice buy low situation in the next coming weeks that we can just totally smash with.
I think that game's going to finish 7-6.
Steelers good day. What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, I like Fields in general. Probably not as much this week. And it's just one of those weeks, pricing soft, where spend up and take a good quarterback or at least one with the high floor ceiling combo. Somebody mentioned Tua in the chat. I don't mind that.
I love
in the
Tua.
Dome. I think he could be interesting. He can get you 303, no problem, especially in this matchup. So I don't mind Tua. And then again, the high floor guys, and then the cheaper guys I like May and Lawrence. I'm kind of keeping my quarterback player pool pretty tight this week.
Nice. All right, let's move it on over to wide receiver. So like I said, who's this week's Marvin Harrison? Is there a Marvin Harrison this week? So we have two chalky rookie wide receivers. Both are in good spots. I'd say McMillan is probably the better play because he should be the wide receiver one, absolutely, and he is electric. So and he's 5,200 for Carolina. So expecting good things from him, but also very chalky is going to be Emeka Egbuka. He'll be the wide receiver two, but this is a game where Baker Mayfield should probably pull Mike Evans and him through up the leaderboard. So I can see that in this game going back and forth in the Dome. Do you guys have a take? Do you guys love both of these guys, or do you think these are easy fades? Do you think one's a fade, one's a play? What are you thinking? I'll let you start, TJ.
I think they're both very good plays, both guys that you can look to in cash game options, either playing them together or just using one of them as a salary saver. I find myself being more underweight on Egbuka just because of how much Bucky Irving I'm playing. So like I would love to get a Tampa Bay player in every lineup. And so if it's not Bucky Irving, then it's Egbuka or Mike Evans, who I think is one of the best low-owned tournament plays on the slate. But I think projection-wise, they're both plays. And just from an ownership standpoint, they can be good. You could just want somebody even better from like tournaments. So I do think at their ownership, I'll be underweight on both of them in large field GPPs. But from cash games, single entry, I think they are both incredible plays on this spot. If I'm picking one, I guess I'm with you. It's probably McMillan. But I do think they're both really, really great plays.
What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, I'm on board with both of them, but there's not like an easy pivot on the Panthers from McMillan. And with Egbuka, yeah, you can play Cade Otton, you can play Mike Evans. We know that Buccaneers offense is going to roll, so it kind of just comes down to who scores the touchdowns. So I do think I'm probably going to have more McMillan, especially because I like Jacksonville's passing game quite a bit, and he's the easiest bring back. But yeah, I think they're both strong plays. Probably going to be even or higher than the field on both of them.
Donnie Watson,
yeah, he can't wait for Sterling Shepard to score twice tomorrow and crush out Tampa Bay Dreams. Genuinely, I don't think that's a bad idea to play a super chalky lineup with Sterling Shepard instead of Egbuka on it.
It's going to be Cade Otton. Sorry, Donnie.
I think so too. I'm playing Cade Otton.
I mean that there's just massive upside there, and it's like he doesn't have to do much either at tight ends to like really like. He'd have to do next to nothing to screw you over. So I think Cade Otton is a good way to play that in tournaments for sure. All right. The top guys, the studs, I want your thoughts on Jamar Chase. I want your guys' thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr., Mike Evans, T. Higgins, and then especially would like to hear your guys' thoughts with Tyreek. So, Noto, what are you thinking? Who do you have for the key personnel in your article? Who do you got in there?
Yeah, I went with Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas Jr., and Drake London is kind of my top three. London, just great numbers with Penix under center in his 3 games last year, and you get access to that game against the Buccaneers. So I like that quite a bit. BTJ, yeah, he was awesome in the second half of the season. You know, the Jaguars brought in the Bucs offensive coordinator, so I think their offense is going to be a little bit better. They also drafted Travis Hunter. I think that's going to take some pressure off of BTJ. And again, that game, just 2 really bad defenses. I think that game has shootout potential. Don't have to talk too much about Jamar Chase. Won the Triple Crown last year. Great game environment as well. And then 2 of my conviction plays. I like Nico Collins a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot of people want to pay up for him. Doesn't sound like Christian Kirk is going to play. They're obviously without Tank Dell. So I think it's just going to be a bunch of Nico Collins targets and get that exposure to the afternoon game too. Then I like Marvin Harrison. He put on some weight in the offseason, and he just let so many people down last year that nobody wants to go there. But, man, Saints secondary, one of the worst in the NFL. I think we could see a big week from Marvin Harrison. Then there's obviously a lot of other guys. One other guy I'll bring up, Jerry Jeudy. We talked about Joe Flacco. He's an elevator for all of his pass catchers. I think it's going to be a really good spot for Jeudy, for Njoku. You could even play Cedric Tillman, but Judy's probably my favorite of the bunch, and it just kind of gives you another player to get in that game to bring back with your Bengals shares.
Yeah, people don't realize that how much Jeudy crushed last season.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to be
so his last 7 games, average 121 yards per game.
Yeah, I mean, he scored. He had a 40 ball against Denver. Revenge, sure, but still the absolute tremendous ceiling. He's 5,400 for a wide receiver 1 and an offense that's going to have to keep up with Joe Burrow and a quarterback who likes to sling it. So yeah, sign me up for Jeudy. What are you guys taking on Ricky Pearsall? I know TJ mentioned him earlier. And then do you guys have a take on Puka?
I'll give a quick take on my top end, guys. I agree with basically everything Noto said, except for one exception. But I will say, first off, Drake London is my favorite receiving play on the slate. London, Bucky Irving, load him up for me. Absolutely love it. The one I differ with is Jamar Chase. If there's anybody who's kind of consistently had Jamar Chase's number, it's Denzel Ward. Chase has even said Denzel Ward is the guy I struggle the most against. He is the best corner against me in the league. And so I do worry. I not worry. I'm still playing a lot of Jamar Chase in my Burrow stacks, but when I'm just picking one expensive receiver to go with, I would rather go Nico Collins or Puka Nacua, or down to Drake London, Mike Evans, T. Higgins. I love the Mike Evans, Drake London, T. Higgins range. I think those are 3 of the top plays on the slate, as well as Devontae Adams going to the Rams, playing with Matt Stafford. $6,100, projects really well, cheap on FanDuel too, and nobody's playing him on either side. I think he's an incredible play. Slot receivers absolutely cook Houston, and I think he should be seeing a lot of routes there in this game. JSN, I think, is a really nice run back if you're playing Christian McCaffrey. Jameson Williams always has upside at super low ownership. I too would rather play Marvin Harrison or Jerry Jeudy, but Jameson Williams I think is okay there. And then to your Pearsall question, I think this is maybe the worst chalk on the slate. Now, he was projecting for closer to 20% ownership earlier in the week. Now that it's down to 12, 15%, that's not that bad. But I don't think Pearsall is a good play this week. We were expecting Jawan Jennings to potentially be out. He's playing. He's got a new contract. He's their number 1 receiver, and then it's going to be Kittle. Pearsall is still going to be the 3rd option against what's expected to be a very good defense. So I don't think he's a good play on the slate.
All right. Any flyers for the people? Deep as deep as you can get, Noto.
We got a question about Leggett. I think he's definitely an interesting pivot away from McMillan if you want to go there. He's a good large field tournament play. What are you guys doing with Tyreek?
I am getting to very little.
Kirk?
I'm playing him.
I feel like if he's washed, then we'll know. And this is probably the best week to play him. So I think I'm going to be playing him as well. But if you do think he's washed, play some Jalen Waddle because we do like that game overall. Jacoby Myers, revenge game against the Patriots. Not necessarily a good matchup, but I think that's a little bit interesting. Can always talk me into some JMO, although I wish the game was in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
A couple other cheap guys they'll take shots on. We mentioned Cedric Tillman already, but I like him in that Pearsall range. And then other Egbuka Pearsall pivots. Rashid Shaheed, 4,600, always has deep touchdown potential. Josh Downs at 4,600 with Daniel Jones. People want to play Daniel Jones, but nobody's playing Josh Downs. I think he's a very good tournament play. And then if you need even cheaper, which again, you don't. If you want to have even cheaper, and you're playing on FanDuel, both the Houston wide receiver 2 and 3 are both 4K flat, minimum price over there, Higgins and Noel. And so they got rid of Mechie. Kirk is hurt. Dell is hurt. Nico Collins is going to have 20 targets, but you might have 6 each for Higgins and or Higgins and Noel too, which at those really low prices, that's pretty nice. Like I do think there is upside in doing like a Stroud with both of those cheap receivers and and Collins, play all 3 Houston receivers on FanDuel together with Nakua, and then get yourself 2 stud running backs with them too. And it's I think that's a very fun tournament build over there.
I like that, especially in the afternoon slate. I like that a lot.
All right, let's move on over.
McCaffrey or Gibbs if McCaffrey's not 100% in there, like it's beautiful.
All right, tight end. This Njoku leads the way. We've already mentioned him a lot. He's cheap, massive upside, a lot of chemistry with Flacco, and good pushback game where they're going to have to keep up with Cincy. Trey McBride, guy who just could not find the end zone last season for just crazy reasons. Just the usage is just insane with this guy. So should be due for some touchdown regression this season and probably smashes. 6,200, I like it. Kittle is in the mix. Bowers is in the mix. Brenton Strange, Tucker Kraft. We talked about Cade Otton. Bobby chimed in with Hunter Henry, who this is the time to play him when he's healthy right now. So a lot of different ways you can go here. So what are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, it's a good position. I like it more than usual. I think Njoku is my favorite overall. I think Cade Otton's my favorite leverage play at the position because you get a little pivot away from Egbuka there. And then you mentioned Trey McBride and his touchdown. So I was looking at this for my article. 292 receptions over the last 3 years, and he scored 6 touchdowns, which is pretty wild. Got to think that comes up a little bit this year, especially since they've been in the bottom 8 in passing touchdowns each of the last 3 years. So it's not just him. It's kind of all of Arizona's passing attack hasn't been scoring touchdowns. So I don't mind that. Kittle might be my favorite spend-up option. No Debo, no Ayuk. He's crushed against Seattle in the past, and I don't know. With McCaffrey hurt, I just think this could be a big Kittle game. And then everyone was worried about Brock Bowers' usage in the preseason. I think that might end up, getting taken into account with his ownership this week. And I mean, he just broke like every tight end record last year in his rookie season. So I'm not worried about Brock Bowers. If people aren't going to play him because Chip Kelly, didn't throw him out there a ton in the preseason, that's fine with me.
Eric Johnson's talking about Tyler Warren in chat, who I think is an absolute stud from Penn State. So probably get on him early. There is a lot of different options in this game for the Colts. There's a lot of mouths to feed with JT, but you don't need much from a 4,400 tight end. So I definitely like it. TJ, who do you like?
Yeah, so I think for the season, I would rank them Brock Bowers, McBride, and Kittle in that order. But for week one, I think I would go McBride 1, Kittle 2, Bowers 3. They're all great, but I think I prioritize McBride followed by Kittle right behind him, especially on FanDuel based on their prices. I think Njoku's great, but he is going to have a lot of ownership, so I'm only playing him with Flacco or Burrow. I'm not going to play him as like not part of a stack. I love the K. Dotton call. I think that's fantastic. I like playing Mike Gesicki in my Joe Burrow teams. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of people playing Burrow, Higgins, and Chase together. So I'm going to throw Gesicki in there too, because if Burrow is the optimal quarterback, he probably didn't throw 3 touchdowns. He probably threw 4 or 5. And so I like the idea of mixing in Gesicki in there. Juwan Johnson is a cheap option. I think is fine. Brenton Strange is one of my favorite cheap options on the slate. And then if you got to go super cheap, I think Jatavian Sanders and Theo Johnson are viable as well.
Good. All right. This is when normally we would pass it off to our man, Bobby. Bobby Gomes for the defensive segment. Are you here in chat, Bobby? If you are, chime in. But I don't really care who I play at D, but I always go as low as I can go and feel like there's some upside. The Steelers are probably the chalk against the Jets. The Jets are a little bit less pricey, but this game has a 37.5 point total. You could make cases for both of them. The Raiders are cheap against Drake May. The Broncos are probably the one you want, but you got to pay up for them at 3,800. I don't know. I don't really care. Do you guys have any takes?
I think Steelers are bad chalk. They're projecting to be the highest owned defense, and I don't really like that because the Jets are probably going to throw 15 passes in that game. I just don't think I think they have a solid floor. I don't think they have a ton of upside there. I'm with you for liking to go cheap. Of the cheap options for DraftKings, I think my favorite are the Seahawks and the Texans. Both teams.
I love the Texans.
Yeah, Texans defense a lot better last year. Should be even better this year. I like them for 2,500. Same with Seattle. Those are they're not good matchups, but they're too good of defenses to be that cheap. I think your safest team is probably the Cardinals going up against the Saints. I love the Lions at 2,700 on DraftKings going up against Green Bay. Like, I know that's not a betting show, but like, it's crazy to me that the Lions are underdogs against Green Bay. Like, I think the Lions are a significantly better team. Yes, they lost some coordinators. Yes, it's in Green Bay. But I think the Lions at 2,700 are a fantastic play. And then I'll double check their price right now. But on FanDuel specifically, I think the Rams are by far the best defensive play on the slate. They are super duper cheap. Houston's offensive line is terrible. I think Rams get 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks in this one, and they are all the way down at $3,700 on DraftKings. Cheaper than the Texans, or on FanDuel, sorry. They're cheaper than the Texans on FanDuel, whereas on DraftKings, they're like $1,200 more expensive.
If CMC is, for some reason, is ruled out, does that just skyrocket Seattle?
Yeah, I think that makes them the number one defense by far.
And then I like the call by Donnie Watson saying the Giants against the chalky QB. That front is going to be they're going to get a bunch of sacks, I would think. So
I think Jacksonville has a punt on FanDuel at 24 or 34 is okay too.
Yep, I can see that. All right, let's make a lineup and get out of here so I can watch some UFC. All right.
When does it lock for UFC? Is it already locked?
It's already locked at noon.
Okay, that's fine.
You could do the captain. There's they do like another slate, but that locks.
No, I have gone out of my way to try and save as much bankroll for NFL as possible, and I've done a good job. Except with all these showdown slates and like college football starting and UFC, and I'm on my computer looking at DFS so much. I'm so tempted to just like blow my load and go all in on all of these different sports, but no, I'm saving it for NFL. I'm being smart. Smart for me. Not
Tempted to blow your load.
Famous last words.
All right, who are we starting? Who are we stacking? I feel like the show we got to, but it's so chalky. I feel like I would say we got to do Flacco. Or
I love it.
Flacco double.
Yeah, I mean we have to just
Judy.
load up this game. Judy and Njoku.
Yeah, I like the start.
Chase.
TJ doesn't like Chase. Let's do T. Higgins.
All right, Higgins. Then we should throw another one in there too. Let's throw
Chase Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And then
my favorite thing to do after this would be that Irving London stack. We don't have to, but just like I'll plug it in, see how it looks. Leaves you with 4,200 for a flex and defense. So if you punt defense, leaves you with a decent one. But we don't have to go that route. But like this right here is one of my favorite ways to build a lineup. Like you can even throw in some Cedric Tillman in there if you want, and then just end it there. Or you can not go T. Higgins, go Tillman, and then play one of the expensive running backs like McCaffrey, like Gibbs, like Achane, whoever you want. So like this right here is one of my favorite ways to start lineups this week.
All right, if we take Bucky out, who Noto's got to have a guy he wants to slot in at running back.
I mean, I love JT this week.
Yeah, I love him too. He's like the guy with like 40 point upside. All right, lock him in, but me personally, I like JT. But all right,
who do you guys like better between Taylor and Achane? I like Achane significantly better than Taylor personally.
I like Taylor significantly better.
Okay.
All right, so throw Achane in the flex.
Yeah, we can get both.
Yeah, these are like typically I don't love playing running backs together in the same lineup, but these are two guys like from opposite teams just because the game scripts don't correlate well. But these are two guys don't mind doing it with whatsoever. Like Achane absolutely is. If they're behind, then he will probably be their number one pass catcher.
Yeah, you could make an exception for this. And then what does that leave us with?
4,150 for a receiver and a defense. We could either go punt defense.
So you plug in your 2,500 defense, your pick, whichever.
Or we could go triple stack and expensive defense and go Tillman. But
we're not allowed to do. We have to leave two spots, correct?
Just one.
Oh, that's funny. Just one. All right.
I don't know if there's even any hard and fast rules anymore. I think it's just like people don't like it. You're not supposed to show whole lineups, but maybe it's a thing you're not supposed to do. No, you're not supposed to sell lineups, so that actually makes sense.
Noto's over on Instagram selling those lineups. I think under somebody else, under like Utical's handle or something.
I actually just signed up for Instagram, first time in my life.
Yeah, nice. You gonna be posting baby pics?
I don't know. My friend just wanted to send me golf tips. So.
Nice. Are you on TikTok?
No.
Oh, that's next. That's coming.
No, you're like a good golfer. You like an actual good golfer?
Aspiring, not a good golfer.
I don't remember who it is. I remember talking to somebody that we work with. Maybe it was Tim. But I feel like I remember talking to somebody we work with, and they're like a, 2, 3, 4, 5 handicap kind of thing.
All right. That's been the week one show. I think
I've been trying to work the term dead ass into my vernacular. Can we each get a dead ass play of the week?
Dead ass play of the week. Mine's JT.
Okay.
Bucky Irving.
I'll go Drake London.
Oh, I love it.
And we'll call it a show. This has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week one edition. We'll be back next week, same time, noon Saturday with beer. Will be joining us, and look forward to that. And guys, thank you so much. TJ, thank you for stepping up and filling in. Noto, you're the GOAT. This show is going to be awesome once we keep, week after week. Once we start getting in the zone here, we're going to make some money. Everyone's going to make some money, and we're going to have a good season. So thank you very much, and we are out.